Welcome to Sex with Rebecca, a show geared towards relationships and sexuality that'll help you enjoy your relationships more than you ever thought possible. Send us your difficult questions and we'll bring you expert answers unlike anywhere else. Whether you're looking for more connection or passion, kink or better self-expression, we got you covered. I'd like to begin by answering an email that we received. Dear Rebecca, I'm in a tricky situation that I never thought I'd find myself in. Long story short, I've been taking music lessons with an older, charming man, and I'm really falling for him. I try to hide it, but it's getting harder and harder since I get nervous whenever he happens to touch me in the context of teaching me. Everything he says at that moment just goes in one ear and out the other. My attraction for him has gotten to the point that I want more. The problem is, he's married with 2 teenage sons. If he were single or even divorced with kids, I'd go for him in any way that I could, dating, having an affair, relationship, or even settle for just hooking up. What should I do? Signed, Mary. Mary, unfortunately, we don't have much control over who we fall for, but we do have a choice in what we do with that, depending upon the circumstances. So while I totally get where you're coming from, I'd like to suggest that you not follow through. The thing of it is, while he may go for sex, romance, or a full-blown affair, it's bound to get messy and eventually cause more pain than joy to you and others. He isn't in a position to love you fully like you deserve to be loved. And the part-time thing, it grows old quickly once the excitement of making something happen wears off, because your mind moves on to the next goal, i.e. wanting more. And that part isn't possible under the current circumstances. So it'll leave you with a lot of disappointment, frustration, second-guessing everything, not to mention cause a lot of pain to his family. Even if his wife never finds out, he'll act differently around her, and she'll be hurt through no fault of hers. I understand that you're drawn to him, but it's not going to deliver what you'll end up craving in the long run. So please think good and hard about this, Mary. Nothing's happened so far, so it's easier to walk away now versus if you were to get more involved. To our audience, if you have any questions of your own, do write us, especially if you're stuck in mixed feelings. Speaking of mixed feelings, tonight we'll be discussing gender differences, which can cause a lot of confusion, with one of my favorite guests, media personality and author Jeff Moore. Welcome, Jeff. I'm so excited to have you joining us tonight.
I'm so excited to be here. Look at you.
Look at you. You're always happy. We're going to have so much fun talking about the gender difference thing.
Well, there's a big difference.
There is. So why don't we get right into it,
Please.
Starting with, why do guys say they'll call and then they don't? This is a common thing that happens, apparently.
Well, what the pretext is they call after you've fornicated, or when is the call supposed to take place?
After the first date, fornication or not, you know.
Yeah.
I'll call you, or she'll say, call me, and he says, okay, and then there's no phone call, and she's wondering what the heck.
Because they're not interested.
Because they're not interested.
There's no follow-through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If a guy likes something, he's going to make a move. He's going to follow through.
Right.
It's not like we're like, oh my, that girl was a 10. It was the best thing ever. I can't wait to see her again. And then they don't follow. You know, like they're going to text you and call you like the second they get out of there.
The second they get out of there. And you know what? I say, if the guy says, when can I see you next? As opposed to I'll call you. I think that's a pretty good sign that
I think you probably already knew what was happening before it happened.
Yeah.
Like, stop playing games with your own self.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were saying, you know, before fornication or after fornication.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go into this thing. You know, maybe fornication may or may not has happened. So, you know, you met someone, let's say online. You're texting, you're emailing, you're sexting. Things are getting pretty hot and heavy.
Sounds good.
Maybe you're talking on the phone.
Like where things are going.
Sounds good. Yeah, right.
Excited.
It's going really, really excited. And then maybe you even hook up, a little bit of bow chicka wow wow, and the person ghosts you. What the hell is all that all about?
As a male, it came too easy.
It came too easy.
And
tell us a little bit, because I have so many clients that have been talking about ghosting, and they've even said to the guy, hey, if you're going to ghost me, tell me, have the decency to tell me, but that's a difficult conversation.
So to any of you, don't ever say those words. That's the most embarrassing thing. It's almost like I'm so afraid of losing yet another person I slept with too quickly or I've done something with. Please don't be that. Like that, as a male,
don't be that guy.
I'd be like, oh, this is never going to work because you're already acting crazy on the first date.
So you've already made up your mind at that point.
Yeah, thank you, but you've just given me the foreshadowing to know exactly what my next 5 years are going to look like. You have yourself a great life.
And I'm not interested.
I'm not interested. So desperation is like an emotion with scent. You know, you can smell it on each other very easily.
Absolutely.
And so you could have first of all, why can't things just be what they are? Sometimes two people can meet, They can have a great 3 weeks or 3 years or a lifetime. But why does it have to be defined by anything? You know, like, just have fun with it. And if it was a one-night stand, it was great, and you know, you wanted a little more, he didn't want any more, aren't you happy that at least he had the decency to not, like, drag it out?
String you along. Yes, good point. And I think the other thing too is, guys, why would they want to have that kind of a conversation, right? Like, hey,
do you want to have that conversation?
Happen. But with women, many women want to have that conversation, because if things are not going to go, they want to unpack it, and they want to have their choice words to say to you. They want to have the conversation. Okay, so
they want drama.
So we're talking about communication, okay?
Correct.
So next point I want to go into is why we communicate. Women are into rapport talk. We like to talk to connect. Guys are into rapport talk. They're only going to talk if they have something to tell you. What do you have to say about that?
I think it has to go both ways. I think you have to look at it beyond that. I think you have to understand that every human being, I think there's like the 5 languages of love or something.
Yep.
Just because you communicate a certain way doesn't mean that that person is reciprocating the same way. And you have to be bigger than yourself when you're communicating with someone. So if we're talking and you keep just missing my point, eventually I have to say, hey, Rebecca, it's great that we're doing all this stuff, but you're not listening to me. You're not hearing me.
Yeah. So you should be able to get the person to become part of the program. So one other thing before we go to break that I want to comment on that is guys are pretty direct. You know, they'll tell it like it is most of the time. Well,
Sometimes they
I'm
lie.
not talking about lying and telling the truth.
Yeah.
Women slip in most of the information between the lines. So a guy doesn't even know that information is there, and she is looking between the lines for something that isn't there and filling things in. So that can kind of get nasty too. So I think we have to talk a little bit more about that, because I'm glad we're doing this gender difference things. Still ahead, among other things, why men walk away from arguments and women follow them from room to room, possibly to clear misunderstandings. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Sex with Rebecca, geared towards making your relationships more robust than you ever thought possible. In this episode, we're discussing gender differences with media personality and author Jeff Moore. Jeff, just before break, we were talking about how men and women, they communicate differently. And when it comes to problems, you know, maybe women want to talk about their problems, and they just feel good talking about it. The girlfriends sit down, you just talk about it, even if there's no resolution. Guys, on the other hand, never feel good talking about the problems, unless they're looking for a solution. So when a female is talking, I know you're bursting, you'll get your turn. When a female is talking, and see, you made me lose my train of thought. When a female is talking, she needs to just have the guy listen. But he thinks, well, if you're talking, you must be looking for a solution, because guys don't talk unless they're looking for a solution. So he jumps into solution, and she's all mad, and he doesn't understand what the heck happened. Talk to us about that.
Sometimes, as a male, you have to be smarter about the things you're doing. And sometimes you have to let them just get the air out. You know, you have to let someone just express everything they need to say and not take it personally, because a lot of the stuff that comes in the beginning, that's just the anger speaking. But what you really have to look at is men, can I go straight cavemen for a second?
Oh, go caveman.
Okay, so men used to, back in the caveman days, men used to go out on hunting expeditions, and you had to be quiet. Because if you weren't quiet, then you didn't get to kill the pterodactyl.
Right.
Or whatever it was, right?
And bring it home for dinner.
And the man who talked too much on the hunting trip is a bad person, because it scares away the pterodactyl.
Right.
Where females would congregate more and talk more, right?
Yes.
And I believe that that's probably, from an evolutionary standpoint, in my own opinion, which is just my own opinion, what the two
But it's true.
Okay, is it true?
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Okay.
Because if he's in the jungle and he starts to get emotional and talking about his emotional problems, this could cost him his life. Whereas women, you know, they're connecting. So I'm really, really glad you mentioned that. Okay, so let's go into the way men and women focus. So the male brain, it's got like sex. We'll come to that.
No, that's all it is.
Okay, yeah, men have 2 emotions, hungry and horny. I know, I get that. But male brain, lots and lots of connections, left and right hemispheres, and each, female brain, lots and lots of connections. Each nerve cell has very long reach, so they can multitask, they can put 10 things in their head at the same time, and they juggle them really well. With men, there's not as many connections, and the reach is very small, which means guys can focus on one thing at a time, but they do it rather well. So if he's focused on something, everything else is quiet, even if that means that he's maybe he's watching a sporting event.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
I've missed when you said, 'cause I've been staring at your lips. So, do you see what I did there? Ha ha. No, do you know what it is? It's men suck at multitasking. Like, we're not good at it. But both sides need to slow down. You know, and when females like, brrr, Do you have how annoying
Slow
that is?
down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, like the worst thing a female can do is do this like a woodpecker on a man. All right, chill. Because a man will listen. But when you're hitting him over and over and over and over and over again, all that does is make us go and just shut that whole situation off. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I totally understand that. And it's because, they need to be just focused on that. And when they're fighting, this is really interesting. When they're fighting, when a guy says men are goal-oriented, so he says, okay, there's no point in continuing this conversation. It's not going anywhere at all. So he'll just chill and he'll walk away. And she'll think, what the hell? Like, where are you going? We haven't cleared up this misunderstanding. And this is when she may follow him from room to room to room.
She woodpeckers.
But no. They both have fair points. She's trying to fix it, and he's saying there's no goal here, so he's shut down. So what I say to my couples is, you really need to set aside some time to park it. So saying, you know what, before things are said that can't be unsaid, let's park it over here. We'll come back to it tomorrow or later in the evening, and then come back to it instead of sweeping it under the rug.
Both people need an opportunity to go into the cave, and they need to go into their space, and you need to reevaluate exactly everything you're saying, because when emotions are hot, that's when the worst things get said, and that's when relationships die.
Absolutely, because you're never going to resolve anything when the emotions are high. You get caught up in creating.
First of all, you don't have. Can I just as a human being, male, female, doesn't matter. You don't have to be right, because you're not right.
100%, I agree. Do you want to be happy or right? And people shouldn't go to the extreme. So I say, gauge the argument, give it a score between 0 to 10, whatever you're fighting about. It may be a 2 or a 3. But people, when it comes to fighting, they go to 10. This is where they go because they want to win. And the original argument was like the thing was so tiny, it was maybe a 2.
But
so don't go to a 10.
But do you know why that original argument that was a 2?
Why is it a 2?
Because things that have happened before were not discussed when it happened. And so what happens is when an argument happens where people have to leave the room.
They take all the 2s together.
And what they do is they take all the 2s from like years ago and they throw them all at you. Bah, 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 you never did this. Bah, 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 Vanessa called you. And that is, are you keeping score or are you in a relationship?
You can't keep score, because if you're keeping score, that means you're on 2 opposite sides. You're not on the same side.
I'm on Team Jeff, you're on Team Rebecca. And everything Team Rebecca does is wrong to Team Jeff. Well, really? Is that the story?
Don't be right, be happy, and always say focus on the relationship as opposed to either party. Because sometimes you're just mad at the other person and you can't focus on them. But if you focus on the relationship, you're on the same side, you do what's best for the relationship, and voila. Boy, time goes quickly with you. But hold on to that thought. We're going to come back to lots more. We have covered a lot of great ideas to help our audience understand their partner, hopefully. Still ahead, what each gender wants. You'll definitely want to stick around for that one. Welcome back to Sex with Rebecca, a show where we bring you expert advice on important matters to help your relationships be more intimate, exciting, and emotionally fulfilling. We've been talking about gender differences with media personality and author Jeff Moore, who's got the inner scoop on such matters, or so he says. Jeff, in this final segment, I want us to have a really candid discussion around what men and women want in bed.
Sex.
Of course, what makes for great lover.
More sex.
More sex. How we get into it, best way to give feedback, blah, 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 blah.
That's a tricky topic, my friend.
Yes, it is. So take it away.
How do you communicate? Listen, men want sex.
Yes, so do women.
You know what's better than...
It's a myth that we don't want it. We want it. And not all men want it, just like not all women want it. But by and large, men and women want it.
What?
Yes. Where have you been living?
I don't believe that.
Okay, let's assume.
Let's assume that that's wrong,
No,
and that
let's
all men
assume-
want sex.
And so do women.
Okay.
So what's
the difference? Here's what I've learned in my small existence, is that when men are stressed, they want sex. Sex, 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 sex. When women are stressed, they don't want sex. And that is the problem.
So very well put, because a lot of times men will use sex to connect, and women are shocked when they say, oh, you just wanted to connect with me.
Yeah.
And women want to feel connected
They wanna
before
cuddle.
they get to sex. So before they get to sex.
Yeah.
So for them, when they're not feeling connected, going to sex is the last thing, and it just kind of feels offensive. It's like you're using me.
Look at you just jump all over me. Just take your time.
But the person is, if anything, the person is really, really trying to connect with you.
Yes.
And to be mindful of that, that makes a big difference. So you can say that at times men just want to connect and that's it.
Sure.
Sure, let's go with
Sure.
that.
Sure.
Okay, so
Yeah.
What do men want in bed?
Well, each man is different, right?
Right.
And there's
but some generic tips on what can we do that makes sex really hot and exciting. Pay attention. I like that one.
Because you might think he likes something, but if it's going on, he's just not into it. Like pay attention to the response.
It can happen for any number of
reasons. Sure, but sometimes, or I would assume.
So why not just give feedback?
Well, because it's damn hard to give feedback when you're trying to keep things going. Like I can't be like, baby, less teeth. Baby, could you move?
I get that.
Yeah, there's
I get
a fear of losing what you're doing.
Yeah, you don't do it during the act itself, of course, and you never do it in the bedroom.
Can we do that though? Here, okay, we be a couple, but you be like.
No, I can't do that because I wouldn't do it during. You have to wait for like a kitchen table conversation or something like that, right?
So how do you bring that up? Because I don't know how to bring that up.
Okay, so
you're having cereal and just having breakfast, but like,
yeah. So you can just say, hey, you know what? Love fooling around. Love what we've been doing. That thing you do with your tongue, it's kind of amazing. I really love it.
Yeah.
And you know what else I'd like to try is such and such because I think it'll go really well with it. So you're saying this is an addition, not instead of, because sexual ego is fragile. Otherwise, the other person will say you don't like it.
But what if the addition is a person?
Well, that's a whole different thing.
Right?
Yeah.
But you could have someone who's really into threesomes and someone who's not into threesomes. Yeah,
so you could say that, if it's a threesome thing, it's a whole different thing because it's not something that you want. Now you're introducing another dynamic into it. And that being the case, you can say, let's say, okay, you want a third party, let's say a female, to join you and your girl. Okay, so the best thing to do there would be if you're at a party, some girl's checking her out. I know she's beautiful. Girls must check her out. You can say, hey, she was checking you out. What do you think about that? Take the temperature. Don't lay it on her if that's not her thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and if you are going to do it, you have to have a safety net ahead of time. So, safe words, and what if one of you likes it, the other doesn't, and what happens,
Yeah, see, I think that's
neither one of you likes it,
because,
is going to become a thing?
I know people who are in marriages who are into certain fetish stuff.
Yes.
And they're not into it. And that's a conversation that need to happen before the marriage. Because my belief is that if you're into certain things and the other person's not, that certain thing always holds something inside that person. So they need to get that.
So they need to talk about it, and one of the great ways of doing it is find a book that kind of talks about it in a very gentle manner, and you can do bookmarking. You can say, hey, I've been thinking about this, put a bookmark in there, what do you think? And then you let the book do the talking for you, because otherwise they'll say, you want me to do what, and where did you get this idea? How dare you? Exactly, but never ever disapprove of your partner. Let them know maybe you're not comfortable with the idea, but never ever disapprove of your partner. Like that is a huge biggie.
Yeah,
my gosh, how quickly our time goes. Literally 15 seconds. Any final tip?
Men, love your woman. Women, love your men. And don't worry about the grass being greener the other side.
Sounds amazing. Guys, to gain a better understanding into straight women, grab a copy of Barbara and Alan Pease's book, Why Men Don't Have a Clue and Women Always Need More Shoes. And ladies, to better understand straight guys, grab a copy of David Zenko's Men, Love, and Sex. Thank you so much, Jeff, for joining us tonight. It's always a pleasure.
Pleasure was all mine.
Coming up, a hot segment with Erin. I had a chance to speak with her earlier, and she's going to be bringing some hot little gizmos to tell us how to turn up the heat. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Sex with Rebecca, a show geared towards making your relationships the best they can be, both in and out of the bedroom. In our final segment, we'll be reviewing an amazing new line of toys unlike any other. To help us do that, we're being joined by Erin. Welcome, Erin.
Thank you.
So good to have you on set today. I'm always excited about introducing new ways for people to get their sexy on. Tonight, I'm especially excited because you'll be presenting an exceptional new line that's homegrown in Canada, developed by a family business that started out as a single store back in 1983. And now, as BMS Enterprises, they're not only one of the largest adult toy distributors in the world, they've also developed new lines of remarkable toys with a very solid goal in mind. So, Erin, before you introduce one of those lines, can you tell us a little bit about the company philosophy?
Yes. So as you said, BMS is a family-run Canadian business that has since grown into sort of every aspect of the industry. So we have our retail side, our distribution side, and we're also manufacturers. So we create our own product lines under the brand name BMS Factory. And these products are sold internationally. We're world-renowned, and we've won many awards, and they're very successful.
It's really nice that you have the retail side, because that means that you listen to your customers and you can customize what they're looking for.
Absolutely. We really, we get a lot of excellent feedback from our customers in store, and I think that really impacts how we design our products, and we can give them exactly what they're looking for.
Because you listen to them. I remember meeting the owner, Steve Bannister, about 15 years ago, and then I met his lovely wife, Ida, and most recently I met one of their sons. So they truly are a family business, and they're so excited about it, and they've thought things through really well as you sell. So why don't you, I know Steve is very excited about this line, so why don't you tell us about this new line?
Yes, so the Palm Power is our #1 seller worldwide. It's an incredibly powerful wand, and you'll notice the best part about it is how compact and small it is. So a lot of wands that really give that power you're looking for are a bit bulky and a little more retro, but with the Palm Power, it's a nice modern style and very compact, so you can travel with it very easily, but still have that incredible, powerful punch.
Really powerful, and it's not cumbersome, like, with cords and stuff. So does it self-charge?
Yes, this is the rechargeable unit. We also have the corded version, if that's what people are looking for. But our rechargeable is also, the balance of the product is very incredible. So all the power is focused in the head, and you'll notice it's not in my hand at all if you want to hold that.
Oh, that's amazing, because that's one of the things that I don't like, when your hand is vibrating and it's just so irritating and distracting.
That goes up your arm. Yes, so you can just continue playing for as long as you need.
That's amazing. Now, you've got some interesting things out there.
Yes.
Are these to help this product get even better, as if that's possible?
Absolutely. It just keeps getting better. These are the attachable heads.
Okay.
So the top just pops off very easily, and you can just pop on a new one, and you're ready to go.
That looks like a little ailment. So what does this one do?
So these two are actually designed for arthritis, and so this is for your fingers, and this is for the spine. But it also works really well for testicular play.
Yeah, I was just thinking that would be awesome.
Yeah. So it just changes it up.
Okay.
And then
what are the other two?
These two here will create a dual vibrator.
Okay.
So sort of like a rabbit. And this part is inserted. This is the external.
So this is against the clit, and this is doing the G-spot and the rest of the vaginal canal.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And then this would be just the G-spot stimulator.
Oh, that's cool. So that one, yeah, I see it's hooked. Can you show us how that one works?
Absolutely. So this bulbous part is inserted, and its curve there will just hit the G-spot and create that friction you're looking for.
That's actually quite amazing. Now, you had said that you had 3 primary goals in mind with your line. What are they?
Yes, so across all of our products, we like to have elegance, simplicity, and power. So elegance of our designs and the uniqueness of our shapes is...
Certainly can see that.
Yes, that's one of our main goals. Simplicity is just ease of use, so making it very simple, one click on, one click off, so that the user is very comfortable. And power, ultimately that incredible power.
Thank you so much, Erin, for sharing the new line with us, and viewers for joining us tonight. Be sure to tune in again next week, and don't forget to email us your questions and subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch up on missed episodes, watch your favorite shows again, and to help us pass on the word. Let's create a sexual revival in Canada. I'm Rebecca Rosenblat, your host, wishing you happy, healthy, and passionate relationships. Until next time.